Let's go back to the SEC ping pong today as we go back and forth. Oklahoma and Auburn. We talked about this a little bit during our sleeper picks segment. Jackson Arnold revenge game here, Cole?
A little bit. Want to point out something real fast. According to ESPN's Pete Thamel, just tweeted. That way we are caught up on this. There's optimism that South Carolina quarterback Lenore Sellers will start on Saturday for Mizzou. He is currently practicing, and it's positive signs for his availability. It does not change my pick.
Same.
Just want to make sure that we threw it out there. That way, when people come back and say, you didn't talk about that. Well, no, we did. So therefore, it's a revenge game. I think it's more than that from a standpoint of both these programs. Like, naturally, the low-hanging fruit is Jackson Arnold returns to Norman, a place that he envisioned himself to be the future successful heir of Dylan Gabriel. Gabriel leaves for Oregon because they want to give him a shot, and he ends up not developing. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of issues with Oklahoma last season. Never liked to hire Seth Littrell as the OC. They had offensive line issues throughout the entire year. No wide receiver help, a limited run game. He was destined to fail, and just hitting reset on his career is probably beneficial. And Oklahoma fans, I don't think hold any harbor or ill will towards him. That doesn't mean they're going to welcome him with the most opening of arms, but it's not that. To me, what this is it's another step toward showing that your coach and your offseason was successful. Both of these teams entered the year with coaches on the hot seat. Hugh Freeze, after a dreadful 2024 season, goes out and he brings in Jackson Arnold. He fixes the offensive personnel. He keeps DJ Durkin from leaving to go to another school, and he continues to build through the transfer portal and recruiting. Oklahoma goes out and they bring in a kid from Washington State as their new OC, and they reunite his quarterback with him, and they go out and they bring in some wide receivers from the portal, and they add in some defensive pieces, and Zach Alley goes off to West Virginia, so Brent Venable says, I'm going to run the defense the way that I see fit. I know what's best for this team, and I believe that this is going to be fixed. And right now, both have been tested. Have they been tested at the full level of what is going to be SEC play? No, but Baylor is, I think, a quality team in the Big 12. Michigan, I think, is a quality team, despite a little bit underwhelming, in the Big 10. So both of these rosters have had an opportunity to show we have made the changes, but now this is conference play. And it could be an opening to a path for both sides that either goes really well and puts you in the conversation for a college football playoff bid or maybe even an SEC title bid, or things start to unravel in this game and we go ahead and have to start firing up the resumes and looking at who are next head coaching candidates at either school. So those are things that I'm looking at in this matchup just from a storyline standpoint. Jackson Arnold is going to have to throw in this game. And I think that really is the bottom line. I'm not saying that John Mateer won't have to throw because I think he will. I think we gave a lot of credit to what Oklahoma's defensive line has been. We got to give a lot of credit to what Auburn's defensive line has been. They can get after quarterbacks and they can make run games obsolete at times. They did so against Baylor. They did so against Auburn. I mean, they did so against South Alabama. So you're both going to have to throw. The problem is that I look at John Mateer and I know that he can get a couple of explosive plays downfield. Like if you told me 45-yard pass to Isaiah Satenga, I could see it. Deion Burks goes for a 30-yard gain and pushed out of bounds. I could see it. Right now, you look at the spray chart when it comes to Jackson Arnold. Stinking dunk passes. It's just little short to intermediate plays.
But before we do that, I will give some love to Sleeper. We play the Sleeper more or less game every single Wednesday. We'll do it again this week when the stats are out, when the picks are available. You can pair more or less of two or more players and win literally up to 1,000 times your money. Go to the Sleeper app, use our code CFA for 100% match up to $100. I was in there yesterday in an eliminator league. I've made it through 2 weeks of the NFL season. Not that impressive, but there have been weeks that I've lost week one. So go check out the eliminator leagues. Go check out the pick'ems. Obviously, a lot of people have their fantasy football through the Sleeper app. Their score bug is great. They do a great job with just updating the scores of everything. I was watching Barcelona's score bug while I was watching Red Zone yesterday on the TV. So go check them out. Terms and conditions apply. Make sure you see their terms of use for details.
But the wide receiver room, every single one of the players that I'm about to name would be wide receiver one at almost every school that either one of these teams have faced. Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, Horatio Fields. There's weapons to where you can get after it if you are Jackson Arnold and feel very, very confident in the direction of where your offensive identity is. but do you have a quarterback that is able to get those plays downfield? And that's going to be, I think, the major telling point in this game. Both of them can run the football. Both, I think, can trust their quarterbacks to take the football and run it up the middle. I think both can be successful on third down. But the difference is that right now, you look at the way that Oklahoma was able to slow down Bryce Underwood. They said, you're going to have to beat us through the air. He couldn't do it. They had one explosive run, and thankfully, special teams kind of kept Michigan in the game, and it was blunders by Oklahoma's sideline than it actually was on Michigan's standpoint. That's going to be how Auburn wins. Auburn gave up over 400 plus passing yards to Sawyer Robertson, who has become one of the better quarterbacks and one of the better passers in college football this year. But also, there's wide receivers that I think are at the same level of what you saw at Baylor at Oklahoma. So I just think that right now the explosive plays favor the Sooners. They favor John Mateer. You can trust that you are going to be able to run the football and that you have weapons with Cam Coleman and Horatio Fields and Eric Singleton. I just don't know if you have the quarterback that's going to be able to connect downfield. The health also of Damari Alston is going to be another underlying thing. Jeremiah Cobb's been really, really good as a running back one, but you need to be able to have that secondary punch. You're not going to have Gerald Robinson. He's out for a while. Do you trust that there can be a second running back? And on the other side, can anyone besides number 10 run the football at an efficient level?
We're a little low on time, so I'm just going to predict this. Yeah, I don't think Auburn can get it done. I think Oklahoma wins this 31-21. So there's my take. You heard Cole with the breakdown. We're running low on time, so I'm just going
to. I think it's going to be. I think Oklahoma's going to win. I think Oklahoma's going to cover. I got 30-20 final score.
35-31 Oklahoma for me. Bet the over.